Our next speaker is Rafael Rodríguez Clemente from the Spanish National Research Council. He is professor of research of our organization since 1994. In the last 16 years, his main activity has been focused in the European regional research policy and the international scientific cooperation. And he is also advisor of the European Commission on the regional strategies on smart specialization of DG Regio. And he will talk about the smart specialization strategies and the European research institutions. You don't find your presentation? Okay.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Magda Di Carli, because she put the frame where the thing should be. I am going to talk about reality, which sometimes differs a little bit. So I will explain you just an experience, is the actions that my institution, the Spanish Council for Scientific Research, which is a very large research institution and a very important actor in the European Framework Program, try to collaborate with the ideas of implementation of the regional smart specialization strategies, which is exactly what we do. So we have a few experience and I want to share with you, because I know now, after exchanging ideas with many colleagues, the problem we are facing in Spain are exactly the same they're facing in many regions of Italy, Germany, in Eastern countries, and so on. So even if this is a particular experience from the Spanish experience, I mean, you can extrapolate to many cases, as you will see. Well, first of all, this is just a definition, a short definition by McCann and Ortega about what the RIS is. That simply to profit the regional assessment, I mean, assess like knowledge, universities, experience, companies, just to find the niches where the competitiveness of this economic sector will improve, precisely by using the synergies between different actors from different fields working together. So the problem also is to identify which are the key players on this thing. I mean, essentially the companies, because these are the creator of wealth and creator of jobs, but also the research institutions, universities, and so on. So in this sense, we, CSIC, we're supposed to be one of the key players. We will see that the thing is not so easy. Well, like simply, very, very quickly, because I want to go through that, and you will have my presentation. This is the eligibility path from the least development regions of Europe. That simply, you see the red color means that we are not well. And then this is the Regional Innovation Scoreboard. I put the two because you can appreciate that, in fact, the innovation in the less development region of Europe is lower. I mean, and this is precisely the effort of the structural funds, try to make a convergence from the less developed region to the high developed region. But in fact, there is almost a perfect matching between these two maps. Okay, so I go simply ahead and telling you that CSIC, in fact, we are a very large institution. We have more than 120 research centers covering all aspects. We have, we have more than 10,000 people or 12,000 people working on our institution in the last 10 years. And precisely to prepare ourselves to participate in the logic of the RIS, we made an assessment on how many contracts we have had with companies. And in fact, in the last 10 years, we have had 15,000 research contracts with external companies of different kinds, from research companies to service and so on. We have created 85 spin-offs, which is not bad. And in fact, we are the main institution in Spain that create patents. I mean, we are the main creator of patents, together with some technological center in the Basque Country. Moreover, we participated in more than 700 projects in FP7. And at this moment, I have some ideas. Still, this is moving every day. We are also a very important actor in Horizon 2020. I mean, we are the third or the fourth institution, European-wide, as an actor. So, I mean, we have some arguments to be an actor in the RIS strategy. But the RIS is really a challenge, for an opportunity for the research and technological organization. There is a pamphlet produced in Sevilla that identify some of the roles of the research and technological institution, identify industry need and opportunity, use their international networking capacity, support thematic cluster, very important, identify two more, which is we are an institution that we know what about the key enabled technologies. We have expertise and we can project our expertise to the companies about that. And then the RTO are solving problem organization. I mean, this is not thematically universities divided in Department of Chemistry, Physics, Engineering, and so on. I mean, we are able to make a cluster of competence to cope with a problem, because the problem are never from one discipline. The problem are always complex problems that need the expertise of many different people. So, but the hurdles. The governance and the management structure of the RIS and the operational program, in general, and with a few exceptions, adopted a conservative attitude. And this is a fact. I mean, the people that had handled the operational program for decades, I mean, they want to stay in what they know, in their own culture of managing. They don't try to take the new logic that Carl explained about synergies and about other factors that are alien to the experience of the manager of this thing. The participation of the private companies in the decision-making, I mean, the definition of the risk was not very significant. This is a fact that I observed in Spain and also in many other countries, because the public institution, the internal debate between, you know, the Ministry of SAT and the Ministry of that is complex enough that to give room to other people like the academia or the private companies is too complex for this manager. This was some of the things. The political changes, also very important. In Spain, we had a problem because we had election at the regional level, and the risk that was adopted by a government, well, come anyone and there, well, no, we are going to do this better. And that's make a delay. And in many places, we have 2 years delay. Moreover, I mean, you know, moreover, you know, in Spain, we love election. We have election every 6 months, and then so it's funny for us, I mean, to do that. So the consequence is that we are in a 2 years delay for the implementation of the risk. And the very fact, and this is explicitly mentioned in the risk strategy document, you need to make consensus. And many people forget about this basic idea that the risk strategy should be a long-term strategy, so there may be a political consensus and a social consensus about this. So this is very important. So, well, in spite of these difficulties, let's do it. But the complexity of the procedure. I mean, the people that handled, you know, the operational fund, they made really a very complex things that many people, they don't have time to understand the logic of the structural funds logic just to implement it. So this is very, very, very difficult. Second, an institution like mine, CSIC, well, we are all over Spain, and even we are here in Brussels. You are in our house in Brussels. Even we are in Italy, and we are in Panama. We are somewhere. Okay. So we are a centralized Spanish institution. Well, we have some problem because, you know, in the Basque country, they made some document in Basque, which is a real problem, or in Catalan or whatsoever. So they put it like a difficulty, minor, because we solved it. But there are even the logic of a centralized institution to cope with a decentralized political scheme is not easy. I told you. In many other places, not only the people managing the structural fund had problem, but also the people of, let's say, the domain of research of universities. They have their own plans. I mean, the research plan, the innovation plan, whatever. And sometimes, instead of making, you know, something new out of the coalition of interest between companies and research institutions and universities, they they made the business as usual because it's easier. I mean, they don't want to complicate. People don't like problems. Well, the very fact is that we are also having some problem. Like some of our institutes are working for the framework program, the international network, and so on, and they sometimes ignore the regional demands. That's a fact, not only in Spain, everywhere. And this is very important that we try to push the research institute situated in a particular region to cope with the problem of this region. I mean, to make adaptation to the demands of the region. I mean, make some groups working on that and making a fluid communication with regional authorities and the companies. This is something that we are starting to do it and to push, because also we have problem about this thing. Okay, there is some other problems. Corporativism, cronyism, and other social limit. Well, we found that even when the smart specialization strategy tried to be implemented, well, people don't want problems. So at this level, well, the pack of agriculture go to the people of agriculture, the pack of transport go there, etc. That means that there is not a centralized, a uniform body that try to make the precisely other synergies between fields, because we come back to silos, in this time, silos of the responsibilities. This is my money, I will manage it. And this is a big problem. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the corporativism. There is also a process. I mean, the cronyism. I mean, some institutions, local institutions, they have very close relation with the local government because they were funded by the local government. So they thought that the operational program, the research strategy, refers to them. So that a body like the SIC, which is national-wide with international impact, goes there to compete for the funds. They don't like it. Eh? So there is some, clientelism is also a limiting factor. Clientelism. And finally, there is a real absence all over Europe of a tradition of cooperation between the research institution and the local companies. Because the level of concern about problems are different, maybe. But certainly, they couldn't anymore ignore each other. They couldn't. Because the research strategy, as Magda said, I mean, we had to create synergies. We had to create a common will to cooperate. Otherwise, we will not use properly these fundings. So finally, I mean, the interregional or cooperation and internationalization, this is all absolutely new for many regions. And there is no tradition. They don't know to whom directed. And even if the people of Sevilla, they try to unify and to explain one region that other region is having the same problem, they should cooperate, still this will take years just to realize that they have a common interest. So what does research can do? And I will go very quickly with simply, as I mentioned to you, be aware and committed with the demand and priorities of the region. That's it. I mean, it's so simple, but the people don't do it. The people are interested in what's happening here in Brussels, which are the call, which are the programs, etc. And sometimes they ignore that at regional level there are some problems. The connectivity with SME, I mean, I have already argumented about that. But the fact is that the research and technological organization, they have a lot of knowledge about the KETs, the key enabled technologies. And the companies many times don't know to whom address it, to ask. Then they go to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I witnessed that thing. I mean, they go there, while in the next door they have a university with a competent group doing the same thing. So information about the capacities is extremely important. And you, a national contact point, you can do a lot about that. Affiliate to thematic clusters, very, very important. Also, the research institution ignore the thematic cluster that the regional authorities promote. It is important that they affiliated, that they receive information, and they participate in the activities of the cluster. This is the way where you can have acquaintance of what the people is asking you. Propose his own network for the internationalization of the regional SMEs. I argued about that, so I don't insist. So I will finish with making some recommendation from our experience, even my personal one, trying to promote the participation of the SIC in the regional innovation strategies. Fact, cope with the reluctance of both local governments and RTU to move from the business as usual to the challenging model of openness, participation, search for performance and internationalization, which is the will of these synergies that our commissioner tried to present us. I mean, we have to cope with this. I mean, we have to do this at the microscopic level, not at the general director or commissioner. We have to go to the microscopic level to force these sort of things. Second, increase the awareness, pass the information, and this is your role. I mean, you are extremely important for that. This is why, Tolana, maybe will be interesting to you to know this experience, because you have an important role, yes, to disseminate these kind of challenges that are of the interest of all these communities, the industrial. National institutions should engage in regional strategies, which is not the case up to now, at least in my country. This is important. Use the RTO as a lever to transfer new technologies. That's no. And then the problem of management. I mean, everybody, even we had a meeting in Seville with somebody here was also there. I mean, management of the structural fund, this is a limiting factor. The allocation of resources, simplification. I mean, the same problem, the same litany that we always talk about. First, the framework program, and then finally they improve a little bit. But it is not easy. Now we have a new challenges on management. Management is a serious limiting factor in the wishful thinking of the synergies and so on. And then the degree of success depends on the governance. That is a fact. If People act making business as usual, business as usual. Well, this is agriculture, this is fishery, this is how I will manage. We go nowhere. We have to make something centralized that know the demand from the different sector and try to make the bridging between this thing. This is absolutely necessary, to make the bridge between the economic sector and the academia. I mean, we cannot go to this thing. I mean, if we have to develop niches of excellence, we have to have a centralized governance, at least at the regional level. Even we had the experience that the role of our ministry in coping and connecting the thing has been not very significant. That was a problem that we had. Was more significant the control, that Magda said, that the control from Brussels was more positive and more efficient than the control from the local national government. So this is also something to take into account. And I stop here. I mean, the political entities, okay, like my ministry we never received instruction from the Ministry of Competitiveness and Economy of Spain to cope with this thing, to participate. Go ahead, do what you think. Okay, this time, yes. Okay, I finish. Thank you very much.